in the racing world really takes himself very serious. Like everything's a joke. Everybody's suffering together, and it's like.
What's up, guys? My name is Rob, and this is Rob on the Run podcast, a running podcast for all healthy lifestyles. And today we have Art. Art, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great and enjoying this amazing heat that we are having over here. I think we're gonna have some thunderstorms, so hopefully nothing happens to this recording. But if not, we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I do not know Art in person, but I've been following him quite a while. He's from Brownsville, which I practically live all my adult life in the Valley in Harlingen, Texas, as we were talking before the recording. So Art, first question, how did you get into running in general?
In general, I mean, I'm a swimmer. That's
okay.
First and foremost. That's actually what I get to do for a living. So
Nice.
I go to a local gym here called Hard Knocks. I've been going maybe 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
A friend of mine was there. There's a Brownsville half marathon that they used to have a few years back.
Okay.
They asked me if I wanted to do it. I said no. Like, with zero interest in running, really. I used to run in high school. My dad was my coach and all that, and I just didn't do it, didn't keep up with it after high school. But then my friend was just like, "You're going to do it anyways." And I go, "Okay, sure, why not?" just did the half marathon and the win, got kind of a decent time. And I said, "Oh, what's the next thing? I guess I'll do a marathon." Super out of touch, not knowing what was next. But I did it. And then COVID happened, and then I just started running more because that's all you could do. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Wow. And so you said you used to run when you were younger in high school. When did you start running when you were like younger, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, my dad had me like in summer track as a kid. He was a cross country and running coach for 39 years.
Wow.
So he still like volunteers at the events and all that. So he had me running when I was younger. I took up swimming in middle school and then just kept up with kind of both of them. Didn't enjoy running so much when I was in high school, kind of like the rebellious things kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then kept up with the swimming and weight training. And then, like I said, just the basic like 5Ks from high school, nothing special,
And do you remember what were your times back in the day when you were doing those 5Ks?
I honestly could not remember.
No worries.
Obviously, I wasn't paying attention back then.
You were just doing it just to do it, right? Just to get your dad off your hair.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, it's funny that you bring that up because when I started running, I did not like running. I hated running. I hated being outside in the heat. Especially that we live here. I mean, we live in Texas. We live in the Valley. It's humid. It's muggy. I did not like it. I used to go to the gym and run maybe a mile or two on the treadmill just so I can get that cardio going and then lift weights. That was my thing. But other than that, I never thought about like running marathons or running anything in general. So it's funny how most runners kind of get into running either peer pressure or somebody's like in your case your dad kind of wanted you to do some running and stuff like that, but after a couple of runs you start liking it, which is weird. So crazy that you did that. So do you remember your time for your first half?
I think it was like 1:28 for my first half. Yeah, I got like 2 weeks of training and just went for it. Like, classic style, like no old shoes, no GPS, anything. I just kind of winged it.
But
it
was a chip time, like
it was chip time.
Okay.
So
wow, and what place did you place or what happened?
I think it was like in the top 10 or something.
Wow.
I think like 8th or 9th, something like that. Yeah.
Is that what kind of got you into running? Like you saw that you had potential or what happened?
Absolutely. Like I went for those 2 weeks that I trained for the full marathon. I looked up some local running groups and just like jumped in with them, met some really nice people, like my friend Shirley. They used to be the ones that hosted that half marathon. They would do like group runs in the morning, stuff like that. And I just went on from there. That's really like the community I found with it is really what kept me there.
That's awesome. And how did you transition like from running marathons or halves to the actual world of ultra running?
So right before COVID hit, one of my friends from Austin, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to do this trail run, Bandera, 25K." I said, "Why not? Something, you might as well just mix it up." I went for it. and I loved it. Like it was a challenge. The people were hilarious. It was just really cool, and I really like camping and
Yeah.
hiking and all that. So it got just ingrained very well to what I already liked, and just played to it. And I would have probably got the ball rolling a little faster if COVID hadn't happened, because they just shut everything down
Yeah.
immediately after that. That was like January, and I think by March everything was shutting
Yeah, it
down.
was all shut down. That's awesome. And the question I always ask, especially runners that I've had that are kind of into both road racing and ultra, if you had to choose one or the other, which one would it be? Racing, like road racing or ultras?
Oh, ultra is like 1,000%.
And
Yeah,
and and
all the marathons I do now are pretty much just for training. I do have some bucket list races, but
yeah,
honestly, like trails is where it's at.
what is it about the ultra or trail racing that really catches your eye in this case?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that, for like I said, I do like the nature thing. I do spend a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time outdoors, hike, camping, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And most of these races are in really gorgeous places, or at least trail out in nature versus running on the road. And then the
Yeah.
culture itself is completely different. Like nobody in the racing world really takes himself very serious. Like everything's a joke. Everybody's suffering together, and it's like everybody against the course versus everybody against everybody else. In the road
Yeah.
racing, everybody wants to see the person on top go down. They want to see competition. It's very aggressive, I think.
Yeah.
But the racing, it feels more like everybody's coming together.
Well, no,
So,
no, you're actually in a way you're right. I've never done an actual trail race. I think the only one I did was a Ragnar relay, but it obviously that compared to like doing 50Ks and 100 milers is completely different. And you are right on that. When I was doing it I did it for the first time last year, and I'm not gonna lie, there was parts where it was too technical for me to even try to run through rocks and through things like that. I took my time. I went really slow, and these other people would pass by me really fast. Like I don't know how they do it, but they passed me so fast, going through the same terrain that I was about to pass. But none of them felt like mad that I was kind of on the way or something. They all said, "Hey, keep it up, man. You're doing great. You just keep going, keep going. You're doing good." Like, and that's awesome. That's awesome that they acknowledge even people that are slower per se or not experienced in running trails. And um, I've actually done road races where if you are slower runner and you're on the left side, a
oh
little bit on
yeah,
the left side. There's some people, man, that will tell you, "Hey, get the hell out of here! Like, go to the right or something." Like, real rude.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I can see a little bit on that. I don't know if you had that happen because I'm pretty sure you're fast, but in a road race where somebody has kind of like told you, "Hey, get out the way" or something.
I mean, I personally never experienced. I have seen it happen before, and it just seems to be a status. Like if you're fast, everybody treats you differently, I guess, or fast.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
yeah,
not. Um, but no, no, I've never experienced that in the culture. There are, don't get me wrong, there's competitive people in the trail world too,
oh, I'm
absolutely.
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah,
Case, whatever. But generally the vibe's going to be the same. Like if somebody falls down, you're going to pick them up. You're going to help
mm-hmm.
them. Anybody would stop help somebody else. There's not going to be somebody that drops you and just like, oh great, the competition's down. They know you need help, and that's part of the race culture. You're by yourself for 30 miles. You're
Yeah,
going to help other people, and you're going to help you if you need it. So. No, like I said, it's very appealing. I like the community. I mean, all we have is road races here,
yeah.
basically. So that's where I train. That's why I'm like 99% of my running is on the road or pavement. But in the end, the culture at trail running has already been there. I don't know how long it's been so welcoming, but I'm
Yeah.
happy to be a part of it now.
Cool, cool, cool. And one thing that I was talking to my fiance because I mentioned that you were going to be here as a guest, and I told her, you're from the Valley, and I told her that you won your last race in Utah, and I might have spitballed the elevation a little bit, or maybe did said too much elevation, but he's like, man, this guy just ran something that was over like 3,000 feet of elevation, and he's like, and the first thing she told me was funny because she told me, but he's from the Valley. I was like, yeah. And he's like, how? Like how there's nothing to train in the
Yeah,
Valley compared to, these high elevations. And I guess that's something that when I started thinking, I was like, man, that's something good to ask. Like, how do you train? How can you go from zero elevation to, these enormous amount of elevations that you ran.
All right, so to get ready for this one was 14,000 elevation, by the way.
14. Okay, so then I
Yeah.
definitely lowballed that.
Oh no, no. But I get it, man. It's flat here as can be. We have one hill that's like 20 to 25 feet, and I do it over and over again. But everything I've read, if you can't get to those areas, is you basically it sounds very intuitive and very basic, but it's just like be as fit as you can be going into it. That's all you can do from here. But we have the heat, we have extreme humidity. That's already
Yeah,
limiting how you can breathe. So I think that actually may be harder than this race. Like the humidity here was probably harder than the altitude over there.
yeah.
Um, Lots of stairs, lots of strength training. I do an enormous amount of strength training, and I took
Hmm.
up yoga last year at a hot
Nice.
studio. So my flexibility and mobility has just like skyrocketed,
Yeah,
and all these things just came together in a really good way. I mean, I trained hard for this race. I had done a harder race back in January,
hmm,
so that kind of opened my eyes to the spectrum of difficulty that can be
yeah,
out there for races. And I just was well, not easily was able to better prepare for this one, and everything came together very well. I'm healthy. Like some minor things were sore, a couple little, for a 100-mile race, I'm in a fantastic place. It hasn't even been 2 weeks. I'm already
I
back from.
know. Yeah, I saw that, and you bounced back pretty fast, and uh, I'm pretty sure that has to do a lot with, your strength training, like you mentioned, the yoga that you picked up, because I personally picked up yoga in this training block. I'm actually training for the Berlin Marathon, and
Nice.
I decided to do some, minor adjustments, try something different, and I picked up yoga just about the beginning of this year, and I definitely see a difference in my running and my recovery time and all that. Um, do you like the recovery for you? What is usually, how does that look like before yoga and all these things that you implemented on a regular, trail race that you do that's a 100 miler?
Well, my recovery is just like anybody else's. I mean, sleep and eat a lot. That's really like, no, yeah. I mean, you take care of your body, you rest when you need to. I emphasize that, yep, the body doesn't know miles, it only knows
Hmm.
stress, and you
Hmm.
have to take all that into factor. Like, it's not going to kill you to pull back on some days or go harder on some days.
Yeah,
You just become very intuitive. And I think I've done this enough now that I know where my body is and where I need it,
yeah,
and do the Garmin thing just like everybody else. The data is there, so it's
yeah.
pretty reflective of where you're at. And I use all my information and my tools in my hand and just play by ear. But nothing's gonna beat sleep and eating and drinking water. Like that's the basics.
Yeah.
And then you work on everything else with that.
So I had a good friend of mine that came out is gonna come out by the time that this episode comes out, he already came out on one of my episodes, and he was talking to me about, and he's an ultra runner by the way as well, and he was talking about, um when he's doing the actual race. Like he told me he eats burritos, like literally like he eats burritos while he's running, because
Yeah,
he mentioned to me something very key that is so different between ultra, like a trail race to a marathon, right? A regular road marathon. Um Gels are not going to do it in a 100 miler, for example, or you just drinking high like Gatorade. He's like, you really got to start thinking about what are you going to eat in these races. And when he
yeah,
told me that he would eat pizza, burritos, all these weird things that you would, as a
yeah,
road racer that I am, I mean, when do you see someone in a road race running with a burrito in their mouth? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
and it made me think about it. And, I mean, it makes sense. It really does make sense. And I guess what I'm trying to get to, like in your case, when with this last 100 miler again, how do you figure out what you're gonna eat, when you're gonna eat it, or what do you eat? I guess in a 100 miler.
So for this one, I mean, I have my preferred nutrition like everybody else. Like I carry a
Hmm.
few like the waffles with you, and my all my liquids have something caloric
Yeah.
in them. But when it comes to the aid stations, once you get in layer miles, I burnt over 12,000 calories for this
Wow.
race. So I eat whatever I want. But you have to practice like eating whatever you want to. You can't
Yeah.
just like I said, like the training runs are going to be shorter, like 3 to 5 hours, maybe 6 hours.
Yeah.
and you have to practice eating with it. It's an eating contest with some running in between. There's just
Yeah.
no way you can avoid like do this just on just. Some people will say they do, maybe I don't know, but I've eaten just like your friend. I've pizza, rice balls, miso, fruit, candy, chips, soda, whatever gets you through. Sometimes you just need to eat something. I think I had quesadillas at some point in this place, so that was pretty
With
cool.
salsa or no salsa, man?
No, they didn't have salsa, man. Utah doesn't have salsa.
Man, they probably don't know what good salsa is, man. They should come to the
Yeah.
valley for sure, for sure. But it's crazy. It's crazy to hear that because again, I'm a very new trail runner. Like I've only done it once, and I did really love it. So I really do want to do it, and that's something that I'm thinking of picking up a little bit more next year once I'm done with this Berlin Marathon. But when he told me that, I'm like, how can somebody hold that in their stomach when they're running? And I guess like you said, you have to practice. You have to uh try out different things. Is that something you do in your training runs when you're out there for, like you said, 3 4 hours? Do you try something new, or you always stick to what works for you already?
I usually just carry simple things with me just because it's easier.
Hmm.
I personally don't have issues digestion issues at any races. I just don't, and I'm very fortunate for that because, like I said, it's an eating contest with some
Yeah.
running. But I do take foods out there with me because sometimes you know how hot it is here. Sometimes you just want
Hmm.
whatever. I'll take PBJ sandwiches with me, some chips and stuff, whatever to munch on. It's just really
Yeah.
like have on hand. Sometimes I'm just like I'll just take this with me. Doesn't matter. Like I guess I do have my ideal nutrition. I use scratch hydration
Okay.
fluids. I do have the waffles. I do have whatever. But honestly, as long as you can hold it down, you can keep you going.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And this race in Utah that you did, is this the first time you do that 100 miler?
Yeah, it's specifically the Bryce Canyon Ultra is the first time I do it. Last year with this company, I did the Zion Ultra. It's
Okay.
also in Utah.
Okay.
So
And the difference between that one and the other one, which one do you think was, other than you winning the last one, but what do you think the difference, or which one did you like better? If I a better
uh,
question.
I think I'm a better running around. Bryce Canyon was a harder trail
Hmm.
because of the elevation game, but it also had a lot more runnable parts than Zion did. It's kind of like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Zion is at a lower elevation, but
Okay.
it's just as gorgeous. They're both gorgeous runs. I won Zion too, but
Oh, wow. Okay.
so
Okay.
they have these three ultras. I'm going to try to win all three. Hopefully next year I can get the other one down. But it's just a matter of preference. Like they're both kind of in the south side of Utah. I think they're maybe like 2 to 3 hours apart.
Okay.
Drive, so you can do either. Zion's was I was less experienced with elevation gain, so that
Hmm.
was probably more of a challenge in that sense. But
Yeah.
even on paper, I think I finished Zion like in 1950, and this race I finished like
Wow.
1942. So very similar times and everything.
And
But
so in these 19 hours that you run the 100 miler, like how do you determine when you take, like when you rest? Because I'm pretty sure you slept somewhere along those 19
yeah,
hours, right?
you don't sleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I don't even really rest. I just my resting time is when I'm getting refills and eating really quickly, and most of the time I'm trying to eat on the run. So as I'm reloading my vest or whatever, no, there's no sleeping for
Oh,
these
wow.
short
Wow.
distance.
That's new to me. That's wow. How do you train yourself to stay up for that long? Like, is that
Oh,
something you train while you're in your training plan?
well, I mean, I didn't really worry about the overnight thing
Hmm.
because I don't know. I don't get sleeping when you're moving. I finished by 1 in the morning. I mean, that's not really so late.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's like you stayed up till 1 in the morning. We've all have.
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sleep deprivation I think really kicks in after you hit the 24-hour mark and the sun's coming back up. That's when you start feeling exhausted. And it's the next day because some of these races can go over 36 hours. My last race before Bryce took me almost 30 hours to finish, and that was different. I started feeling a little tired, like sleepier by the end. But even then, I didn't
Yeah.
sleep. Keep moving. For me, the more you stop, the more it hurts. I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And as you're ready, you sleep as much as you can before it. So you're going to, if you've rested, if you tapered well, you should be able to just stay up.
And going back to like the training, and just because I love to wrap myself around like how just the difference between a marathon training and trail racing, because it's so different. It's so the way you train, the amount of miles you put in a week, I'm pretty sure is different. When you were training, for example, how many is there, I guess, is there a specific amount of miles that you tell yourself you're going to run for that week, or or you kind of go with the flow, or how does that work?
I kind of structure it in a way where it's like time based. I
Okay.
run maybe so my training is like 6 days a week of running. One of those
Hmm.
days is speed day, and then back to back um, long distance days, long
Okay.
distance days, which is pretty standard pattern for an ultra running. But
Hmm.
my biggest factor is I do a ton of cross training. The hours I put into cross training is maybe even more than I do in the running. That's honestly played a big hand in me.
Okay.
With um, I work in an athletic job, like swimming. I'm in charge of the ocean rescue there on South Padre Island. So my job
Hmm.
itself is very athletic. So I get to do all the swimming and stuff out there too. But I do the yoga, I do the strength training, I do Stairmaster, I do whatever cross training I can. And generally, I'm putting up to 20 to 30 hours a week just in cross training, in addition to maybe 60 to 100 miles a week in running.
Oh
I've
wow.
I've integrated them over time, and it fluctuates, depending on what part of the training plan I'm in. But
Yeah.
the cross training, I think, is key to everything I do
Hmm.
because we have limited resources here. It's flat, it's hot. There aren't a lot of we don't really have any trails. We have
Yeah.
paved trails. Um, but as far as it working for me, it obviously works for me very well when I
Oh
go to
yeah.
these. Yeah, like on paper, Texas going to like higher altitude states, we kind of get made fun of, but then I go there and they're like, okay, like you see the other people that were in the top three, they're Colorado,
Yeah.
Washington, Oregon,
Yeah.
and I come along from nowhere and just take my fitness with me. So hey,
But it makes sense what you're saying about, even though we don't have, because I live in Houston, there's no
yeah,
elevation here
you
in
guys are
Houston
pretty
either.
flat too,
It's
yeah.
pretty flat as well, but it's very, very humid as well. I still think that the valley is much more humid than Houston. But when I lived in Austin, and in Austin they have elevation, they have, hills, they have a little bit of more to where you can train for something
Yeah,
that's going to have more elevation. And when I moved over here, I was like, man, I'm gonna kill it here. I'm gonna be able to run these flatlanders like crazy, But then you come up with the, humidity and the heat,
yeah,
that we get. It's just as bad as running a hill.
yeah.
I
It's
really do.
humbling as can be, and a lot of people don't get how difficult it is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's crazy. It like you said, it humbles, and it really did, because it took me about 3 4 months to get used to the damn heat. Like, well, not the heat, because the heat anywhere in Texas is
yeah,
hot,
that's
but
true.
the humidity. And I live maybe like half a mile from the oceans, well, the bay, because we live in a bay area, close
Yeah.
to Galveston.
Mhm.
And so it's even worse. It's even worse. But it makes sense. But I really love hearing that you've done so good, man, because in a way it makes me proud being a valley person, because I practically live all my life in the valley until I
Yeah.
moved 6 years ago. And a lot of people really don't. I feel like a lot of runners don't even know a lot of about valley runners. And the fact that you're putting, all the running community, the valley running community on the spot this high is awesome, dude. And it makes me very proud to see that when I saw you winning, I saw that video when you crossed, I was like, man, that's awesome. That is like the best thing that could happen for valley runners. And I hope you're motivating people to try it, man, because it sucks that we get discouraged really fast. We get discouraged because it's hot, or because it's too hard. And I
Yeah.
even told people that I talked to, like, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
Everybody would just get a pair of shoes and run and do great things. But it takes time, which I'm pretty sure, and you can explain, like, you just did not just win Bryce just because you decided to run a half marathon one day. It took you time to get there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
people don't get. And tell us a little bit about your you know from running the first marathon. what were your struggles once you went into like the trail side when you started?
Well, just like everybody else is a trail side, the elevation first and foremost. When you know how you know how it is coming off the road to a trail, like you're used to a certain pace, you're used to a certain
Mm-hmm.
heart rate, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on? Why is my heart rate so high? Why is this
Yeah.
so hard? It shouldn't be this hard. Just snapping out of that mentality
I was
just a little
able to
bit.
run it like last
Yeah.
minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's most of this game, just a mental game. Like you can't go in this thinking it's gonna be like an extended marathon or something like that. You have to know that it's gonna suck. It's gonna hurt a lot,
Oh yeah.
and it takes a lot of pain before the race to even get there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had to ride in a car too just to get there at
Oh wow.
1,800 miles just to get to the race.
Yeah.
Um, but all you can do is prepare and embrace it. And
Mm-hmm.
when you hit the wall and you hit the next one, you just keep moving, steady. Um, your emotional lows and emotional highs are going to fluctuate a lot during the race, but um, as long as you're mentally prepared that you know that's going to happen, that you're ready to embrace that and to just maybe even use it to your advantage. You know, some people are
Yeah.
motivated by different things. And of course, don't forget to smile and enjoy it. You signed up for it. You're there, and you're usually in a beautiful place with these trails. So difficult things, but great rewards.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. And question that I kind of always ask most of my friends, and not just on the podcast, but just most of my friends, because I like to see the different reactions or the different reactions we get as runners. Because one of the biggest things that I get, and it just happened to me when I ran the Houston Marathon, I had my medal. We finished, we were all happy, we finished the marathon. We went to go get something to eat as a group, and there's this one dude that had just I even saw him when he got there. He had like this beautiful BMW, right? He saw us with medals, and the first thing he asked me, "Oh, did you win?" And I was like, "No, no, I did not win. I probably was like 3,000 out of 10,000 or something like that." And so he looks at me, "Did you pay for this?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, you have to pay to register to run." He's like, "So you're telling me that you ran to get a participation medal?" and and the reason why I'm telling you that is because I want to hear like what type of reactions do you get from people that are maybe non-runners or don't understand why you do what you do? Like, have you ever gotten that type of reaction or something similar, or telling you, "Hey man, Art, you're crazy. What the hell are you doing?" Like, what type of reactions have you gotten in the past?
Oh yeah, I hear that one especially a lot. Like, are you insane? Like, I mean, even for runners, it's doing these 100-mile distances. It just doesn't. I mean, it's not logical. Like, why would you go and suffer that long and debilitate your body for so long? I think a lot of the people just don't have a perspective of how difficult some of these things really are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm not doing that to talk myself up. I don't like try to be very modest about all this stuff, but it's not like if anybody that's run a marathon. I remember my first one. It was hard. It was really hard. I could barely
Mm-hmm.
walk for a week after my first marathon. Now I do them for training, right? But
Yeah.
again, like that question of like, did you win? For me, most of the time, I tends to be yes. So they're also like, oh, and you won, good. Like, very
Yeah.
very modest reaction. My dad, especially, like, I'm proud of you. My dad, the most modest, quiet person, like monotone reaction. They're like,
He probably
over.
expects it. That's why. He expects you to win.
Yeah,
That's why.
yeah.
The,
'Cause he used
the
to be really
day
good back in his day, So
I'm pretty sure the day you show up and you tell, "Hey dad, I got like third place or fourth place," like you'd probably be like, something went wrong, didn't it? Or something, I'm pretty sure. I mean,
yeah,
how many ultra marathons or ultras have you ran, like 100 milers, for example?
100 milers specifically. I think I've done six now.
And out of
Just
those six, how many have you won?
I've won three of those so
Oh,
far.
nice. So you're 50%. Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, and I've done some of the other distances. I just for training, I did the Brazos Bend 50 over there by Houston, and I
Okay,
won the miler and I won that one. I've
nice.
done a few 50s, a few 100 Ks, 50 Ks, the
Yeah.
barrage. But I think 100 mile and up is where I'm going to shine in and stick to. I'm going to try to climb the higher distances. I want to do Moab 240. That's like
Okay.
on my bucket list, and try to get into Badwater. So we'll see.
How about Cocodona? Have you thought about doing the Cocodona 250?
Yeah, it looks awesome. They actually just had it, I think, like 2 weeks
Hmm.
before because I went through Sedona and I went through Arizona, Prescott,
Yeah,
and all that area. And I had followed some people that were doing it, and it looks really cool. It's just like the logistics and like real life. I mean, I work for a living. I don't know how I'm
yeah,
gonna get away for a week and have to do a race. Like, really, I think that's the biggest like bottleneck
yeah.
most people have. Like, unless it's the only thing I do for the year, I don't know how I'm gonna go ahead and do some of these races like logistically.
Don't you hate when the job gets on the way, man?
Yeah, right.
Jesus. That's what I always tell because in my case I'm trying to do a 50 state challenge run fit marathon or half in all 50 states. But then you only have so much vacation time, you know. I think I already ran out of excuses with my boss. Hopefully he's not watching this. Yeah, that I tell him, hey, my daughter had to do this. I gotta take like I don't know what else to say, man. But yeah, unfortunately, the job always gets in the way. But it is what
Definitely.
it is. It also helps pay for the races, right? So they kind of go
Yeah.
hand in hand. So that's crazy. But so you did mention something earlier that you ran a an ultra in January. Was that the one in Hawaii?
Yeah, that one was unbelievably difficult. It was really cool.
And I think you won it through a like a contest or a challenge
Yeah,
or
Rabbit, the run clothing company had like
hmm
a like they're the main sponsor for the event, so they had like a giveaway and you submit your stats. You had to write an essay. It was like a college
Oh
application, I
my
think,
God.
and I got chosen to represent them. So yeah, they sent me my way over there. It was
Oh,
pretty
nice.
cool.
So they paid for the flight and everything?
Nope. They got me the entry, and everybody there was really kind. They sent me a bunch of gear, but my community held up. My friends like
Hmm.
Shirley, Paradox, and all that. They all like donated or had fundraisers for me to get my butt
That's
over there.
awesome.
So I have an extremely supportive community here.
Yeah.
That's when they have really well here in Brownsville and the Lower Valley, Cameron County.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no, yeah, I saw that and that's awesome. I really do like that, and I think that's something in general when you're talking about the running community or the ultra community or just running community in general, right? They always tend to, come together to help someone out or encourage you and whatnot. So that's awesome. And I'm actually an ambassador for Rabbit. I was able to do the Rabbit ambassadorship, and yeah, I saw that, and that was really
yeah.
yeah, the rabbit, Rad Rabbit. And I love their gear. I think their gear is
Oh,
awesome. It
phenomenal.
it's very comfortable and uh raising a child. I have a soon to be 18-year-old man. I'm so old. Um, she's a woman, and I always tell her about Rabbit because it's a woman owned based
Yeah,
company.
the business
And
in California.
yeah, and just I like to talk to her about them just because I want her to think big like they do. So I'm glad that they you were able to get a race through that. And it was that a 100 miler as well?
Yeah, it was 100 miles there in Honolulu.
Nice, nice, nice. First, I'm guessing first time there.
Yeah, I didn't even have Hawaii in my bucket list to travel to. I knew about Hurt, but so I got the opportunity. I was grateful for it. Like, oh, okay, yeah, like it's
That
supposed to be one of the most difficult races in the world, and I think it's pretty spot on. I enjoyed it. It's like I needed to get my butt kicked, and that was the one race that really just kicked my butt. Like absolutely, it took, like I said, it took me almost 30 hours to finish that one. And every other ultra I've done, every other 100 mile I've done has been like under 20 hours, or even as low as 16 hours so far. So I needed to get humbled and also like open up my perspective. Like I said, I know how hard races can get and what I need to do to get ready for them. And obviously,
And
it's that paid off just right off the bat. I mean, that was just 3 months before this race, so that helped me just get moving again.
and why did you think it was the most difficult one? Were you prepared for it, or because you joined a contest that was kind of out of the blue, or just
Well,
the terrain basically?
it's basically the elevation gain. I think we gained and lost about 28,000 feet on that one,
Wow.
and it was very steep, which I can prepare for going up as much as I want. I have trouble with some steep inclines, which I'm trying to figure out a way. That's my weakness right now, and I'm trying to figure out the way to get that steep technical. So by the end, like my quads are fried. My last 20 miles just like hurt the entire time, and not in a fun way. Um, I had a pacer for the first time for that race. My
Oh,
good friends
nice.
were right there with me, so that helped get me through. But I've never had to use a pacer. I've never had
Oh,
before, so
wow.
that's how heavy it got. Um, I mean, it was hot and humid, but it just really wasn't that bad compared to here. So
Hmm.
that was an advantage. But as soon as it got nighttime, like everybody else sped up. And no, it was just a big learning experience. I was thankful to do it. Maybe one year I'll go back, but for now, there's too many races I want to do.
And have you heard of Leadville 100?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That
Uh,
that's 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 one
uh,
I want to do, but I don't know if I'm ready for a 100 miler. But it's I've heard that it's one of the toughest ones to
yeah,
do.
yeah. I mean, I want to throw in for all the big ones, just like everybody else, Leadville, the Western states, and all that. So eventually, I think I still need a lot to learn. And I'm just trying to get better and better and better, and then eventually I'll get into them, I think.
Yeah, I'm confident that you will, and you definitely already have that set skill, and definitely I feel like the discipline. I like I said, I follow you on Instagram, and I love seeing everything you post because it 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 one I guess my one of my biggest issues is not so much the dedication, but just trying to stay, you know, I don't know if the word positive it because it sounds wrong, but you hit sometimes, some lows and whatnot. And and sometimes for me it's seeing my results or seeing that I'm not seeing what the amount of effort that I'm putting, I'm not seeing the results. It does sometimes, put me down. But when I see stuff like this, like for example, that when again, you coming from the valley, most people probably never thought of someone from the valley winning something so big like that, and it pumps me up. Honestly, man, it pumps me up because it's we have it hard, man. We do have it hard in a way. Like you said, some people, like you said, like people from Colorado that have all the technical stuff to do it, they have all the tools to do it. And when someone like yourself shows up to these amazing races and puts the valley on the spot and shows that we can do it, it really pumps me up and makes me think, you know what? I'm gonna try harder. I'm if I had a bad day today, tomorrow will be a better day, something like that.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like you said, you follow me, and you contacted me for this even before I won this race. So like,
Yeah.
thank you for that too. You even without knowing how I was going to perform. I mean, that's the thing about me or anybody else. A lot of the days are hard. It's not just like I'm not. I mean, you see me moving all the time, but there's hard
Hmm.
days all the time. I have stress. I have my life going on too.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as I make it seem. And all these people that pretend that it's easy are lying to you. They're 100% lying to you and trying to sell you something or whatever they're trying to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hard days. Doesn't matter how well you perform. There are hard days. It's just a matter of what you're gonna do. You know.
Yeah,
And
no, you hit it right on the spot, man. And I actually now, even though sometimes I can, be down about it, uh, I actually enjoy those hard days the most, because I think when you're having, when you have a struggle to do something or just to wake up in the morning to go run at, 4:30 in the morning like I do, it's when you have those hard days is it makes it much sweeter. Like when you finish your workout on that day that you just did not feel that you wanted to do it,
yeah,
and you do it, it feels better, and I appreciate you saying that because it really, and you are so right. I do follow a lot of people that are like they make it look so perfect, you know.
don't trust the influencers, man. Don't do it.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Everything comes out perfect, and you're like, when do you have a bad day, man? Come on now. But it's that's I think that's the beauty about what you do and what I do and put those miles out there and embrace, I guess, what someone a good friend would tell me, embrace the suck. You got to embrace it.
Yeah,
There's nothing around it. You gotta enjoy it, and if you don't enjoy it, then maybe find something different. But it's hard. It's definitely hard, and I can only imagine running for 100 miler, man. It's amazing, and hearing the success that you've had is definitely amazing.
I don't know. It's like I said, if you ever decide to do it, let me know, man. It'll change your life. I
I
promise.
am, dude. I am. I really am. Obviously not this year because I really want to, do good in Germany. But I do have a plan to maybe start, and actually that's something that I was gonna ask you, like first a beginner like myself, because I'm a beginner, even though I did Ragnar, that's nothing compared to, the 50K, 50 milers or whatnot. For somebody that's ran a marathon and is thinking of like going to maybe a ultra or a trail race more than a marathon, what's the best advice you would give that person?
I mean, this has people have been doing this for a long time already. There's structured plans out there. Maybe you need to even get a coach that you can trust, like a real coach, not a fitness influencer, run influencer coach that we just talked about.
Yeah.
But just you find a structured plan, run slower than you think you need to, and then start eating a lot. You're gonna need to eat a lot. That's like I said,
A
those
lot
are
of
like
quesadillas, huh?
the most basics of it. Don't run yourself into the ground. Properly recover. And as I said, all the plans are out there already. I don't even get plans anymore. I already know what I want to do. But at the beginning, I mean, I read into it about books. I didn't just like completely go for it. Maybe at the
Yeah.
very beginning I did, but then when I'm like, I want to get better at this, there's materials, source materials out there. Recommend some books. There's a lot of blogs that are legitimate science articles. Geek out about it, get into it. There's so much more in the endurance world that you can learn through the process to improve yourself in everything. Like it's this
Yeah.
trail running, ultra running thing has improved me in all my fitness. Like I'm able to manage everything very well now. Um,
That's awesome. That's
that goes
awesome.
across the board from everything I do.
That's great, man. And speaking about like your endurance and stuff like that, somebody I remember I was running once with a not an ultra marathoner, but more like a triathlete. And I was telling him once, like I had a lot of at the beginning of my running when I barely started running, I would have a lot of problem with my breathing, like controlling my breathing while I'm running, and that would definitely influence on my pace, like what would I be able to maintain in a race, for example. And he told me once, swim a lot, like go and learn how to swim, do some laps, and that's gonna help you with your breathing, like to learn how to breathe. And since you're a swimmer and you mentioned to me, do you think that with these ultras that you've done and these marathons that you've done, swimming has been a big influence in your success?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I came into this already pretty fit from swimming. I used to be mainly a swimmer, so I'll preach it forever. And I have a free ocean swim club so I can make it accessible to people in the summer. So
Nice.
give it a try in a pool, in an ocean, whatever you can. Like all that extra pressure, the heat, humidity, and irregular breathing, like just brings up your VO2 like crazy. Like so,
That.
and it's low impact. So like if you're
Mhm.
like taking a break, you switch cardio, like it's fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's something that I'm also thinking of incorporating, just because you want your easy days to be easy also on your body, right? The days that you don't get to run and you still want to do some workout but keep the legs fresh, I guess. And that's something that I've been thinking about, adding to my plan per se. And definitely, Art, what's on the plan for you now that you're done with this race?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what to do in between now and next year. I have some races for next year. Like I said, I want to do Antelope Canyon, which would be the trifecta for these three
Yeah,
races, and just close that off. But that's not till March. And then I have Franklin Mountains 50, like a really steep technical race in El Paso in January to practice for Antelope. But I haven't figured it out yet. I'm gonna see what's on the table. I mean, I've got like 6 months to figure it out. But
and
work's getting busy in the summer.
oh yeah.
I do compete with the lifeguards. We have our own set of competition over there that isn't running. On a national, I represent us on a national level on that one actually.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, it's going to be in South Padre this year in the national competition, so we're going to be like right here.
And what
So
do you guys do? Like, because you mentioned it's not running.
yeah, it's like track and field for ocean lifeguards. It's
Okay.
like a mix of events of rescue, swimming, paddling,
Oh,
diving,
wow.
whatever. It relays stuff like that. It's a just a like I said, exactly like track and field, just for ocean lifeguards. So it's all beach and ocean. It's pretty
And and
cool.
and you said it was going to be this year. Is going to be here in South Padre Island.
Yeah, the national competition will be in South Padre Island in I can't remember, it's late July or early September, but it's going to be this year
Damn,
here.
that's I had never heard that. That's actually pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's a very unique role. Like the ocean swimmers and ocean lifeguards are phenomenal athletes. You should see some of these guys are like Division 1, like some of them are ex-Olympians, stuff like that. Like it's stacked. So
Wow, wow. So you got some competition then.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, I hope you win it, man. I hope you represent your team very highly. And it's just one person, or is it like a group? Like, is it a relay
It,
or?
we take a team of people, so you can just like track and field, you can do individual events or relay
Hmm.
events. So, yeah, it's a
Okay.
mix.
Oh,
I'll do a
awesome.
mix of both myself too, individual and relay.
Awesome, awesome. That's cool, man. And again, Art, I don't want to take too much of your time here. I definitely appreciate all the time that you've given us. At this point, we do have a the section, the most I like to call it the popular section that we have here, where our previous guest had a question, and then you'll have a time to answer it. So right now, we'll let our previous guest ask the question. Okay.
Yep.
What inspires you to run?
So what inspires me to run?
Hmm.
I want to know what my limits are, and I want to keep pushing them until I can't push them anymore. Running is just part of what I do, so I'm pushing myself in all my aspects because I think we have nothing but time, but eventually even we're going to run out of time. So we should find out where we are and where we're capable of before it gets dark.
That's awesome. Then and I couldn't have answered it any better, man. That's awesome. I think we always have to push ourselves to the limit, and see where how far we can go. And then once we get there, we just got to keep on going, right?
Yeah,
That
that's
that
all we can do, right? You got to keep moving.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. And part of the tradition, Art, is your episode 8. So this will be a question that episode 9 will ask. Do you have a question for our next guest?
Give me a moment, I can think of one. Um, I wish I had known what everybody else asked before, but um, what is it going to take you to get to your next goal?
Nice. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And part of the tradition is that you got to answer your own question.
I have to figure out how to get a mountain built in Brownsville so I can train and reach my goals correctly. I think that's what it will take.
That would be awesome. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would appreciate that. Hey, man, they can make it out of like metal or whatever. Just
Yeah,
make
leeching,
make.
that's what we need.
I'm pretty sure someone can come up with that, man. That'd be crazy. Imagine a mountain or a hill with the
Yeah.
humidity.
If
Oh
I
my.
ever get the resources to do it, I will do it for Brownsville as my legacy.
That would be crazy. I would love to see that. So if you make that happen, please text me, let me know because I definitely wanna check that out. That's gonna be.
Of
I'm
course.
pretty sure you'll be able to see McAllen from all the way over there, dude. It's so flat, man.
Yeah.
But Art, I appreciate again all your time. It's a pleasure from one Valley person to another Valley person. Thank you for putting the Valley in Brownsville on the spot, man, and continue doing what you're doing, man. It's definitely inspirational. It's gotten me to want to try something different, and that's I think that's the best thing about it. Don't stay focused on one thing like road racing for me because that's all I wanted to do. To be honest, that's all I wanted to do. And then I started seeing like you and other people doing trails, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that's awesome. That's something that why can I not do that? So again, thank you very much, man.
Anybody can do this, man. I'm gonna stand by it. Just get comfortable being uncomfortable. Thank you for having me
Yeah,
on here.
yeah.
And again, Thank you, another fellow Valley person.
That's right. That's right. And one question, I got one question. Favorite taco place from the Valley?
Ooh, boy, man. Um,
Like if this was the place, the only place, only place of that will be open and everything closed down, which one would it be?
it would probably be with Tuma Taco. It would, just like you mentioned here in Brownsville. So
Oh
yeah.
my God, I miss those tacos, man. If you can like put some tacos in, I don't know how to keep them warm and send them to me, dude, I'd appreciate it, man, because those tacos are amazing, man. They're definitely it's artwork, man. What we have over there in the Valley. I moving 6 years ago, when I moved 6 years ago, I tried to look for a good taco place and I found a couple good places, don't get me wrong, but nothing compared to Valley Tacos, man.
It's not the same.
No, it's not, man. I think I might want to move back to the Valley after that, after this conversation, man. Jesus. But anyways, again, thank you very much, Art. I appreciate it. And before we leave, go ahead and give us your social media hashtag or handle where someone can find you.
Instagram's probably the best thing. Young Mountain underscore art. That's it. Young
Awesome,
Mountain
awesome,
underscore art. Yeah, just find me there. I post everything. It's public, so you should be easy to find. Art Hurtado.
awesome, awesome, dude. And again, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and hope you have a good night, man.
You too, man. You take care.
Yeah, man.